Jack Scott Off-Road. How you doing today? Well, I'm going to make the video going over the first aid kit that I usually keep in the Jeep. Usually, because I'm in the process of putting new seats in the Jeep and my mounts no longer fit, so I'll have to rearrange how that goes in. But I wanted to go over the first aid kit and kind of show you what I carry with Jeeping and for personal safety. So, first thing we're going to look at here is how it's mounted in the Jeep. A simple black bag. This usually hangs behind the Jeep. What I like about this kit is it's a simple, undo the strap and pull it out. And this is pretty much what the kit looks like. Just the light some. So I found this bag on Amazon and eBay. It's pretty inexpensive. It's MOLLE. It's easy to get out and put back in, and that's what I like about it. But you open it up, it's got 3 compartments, and we're just going to kind of go through what I carry and why. Set of EMS gloves. Make sure my hands stay clean. Got some, looks like Tylenol. Tweezers, antiseptic or antibiotic cream, some hand sanitizer, hand cleaners, some antibacterial wipes, and just a couple quick, easy band-aids. Just small stuff, nothing real big and fancy. This is where I'm going to go to for a lot of my just little stuff. In my middle compartment, that's more of my trauma. I have gauze wraps in these compartments, and actually all these here are all just different types of roller gauze for wrapping up 4x4s and making larger bandages. Some cling dressing or Coban is what it's called when you buy it. A whole series of 4x4s, 5x9s, just a large assortment of larger bandages to cover most of the stuff you're going to come into on the trail. The outer compartment or the lid, trauma shears, hemostats, and these are good for just anything you need to pinch and clamp. CPR barrier mask, and then a cat tourniquet. And nice thing with the cat tourniquets used to be a taboo thing. You put them on, and the only person that could take them off is a doctor. And you used to be taught that you put them on, you were going to lose a limb. I mean, this was life over limb. Put this on to save a life. What they're finding now is a lot of people are getting hurt and bleeding out from less serious injuries, or what are perceived as less serious injuries, and the tourniquets really aren't as bad as they thought. So there's now a trend that's starting up to have what are called stop the bleed classes. Now the stop the bleed is teaching people to put a tourniquet on to stop the bleeding, control the bleeding, to help prolong life. And the idea is to actually put kits out in public just as frequent as you see fire extinguishers or public AEDs, so that you have your, you can grab that and take care of a bleeding patient and do better first aid than what's out there. That said, there's one thing in here that I mentioned that I have and that's the Tylenol or the aspirin. And as an EMT, I've been an EMT for over 20 years now, firefighter for 19 years for the city or career firefighter, not to mention years of volunteer. What I've noticed is people will set up their first aid kits with sutures and all sorts of medicines and stuff that you really can't use or you shouldn't use. As an EMT, I have a license to practice medicine, or not even a license. I am practicing medicine underneath my doctor's or my medical director's permission, under his license. So if I make a mistake or screw up, it's his license. He is the one that certifies that I am able to do my job. It is his license and his authorization that gives me permission to do procedures in my jurisdiction. Once I'm outside of my jurisdiction, I can't do the stuff that I can normally do. And I've known people who are certified for IVs in their jurisdiction, but they carry IV supplies in their first aid kits in their vehicles, thinking, well, if we're on the road someplace, we might need it. Well, you can't do it because your doctor, your medical director didn't give you permission to do it. So the Tylenol in there, that's for personal use. So that said, this is just pretty much what I use as a trauma bag or a first aid bag in the vehicle. Again, I do have a smaller one that goes with us that has medications in it when we're traveling. But remember that if you're going to carry it, know how to use it. If you use it, make sure you're allowed to use it. The other thing with first aid kits that's kind of important is you need to go through them regularly. Believe it or not, a lot of this stuff will expire or gets old and needs to be thrown out. Your pain medicines, your antiseptic wipes, even some of your bandages will go bad. So check your expiration dates. Also, it's a good idea to refresh your memory as you're going through it where stuff is. Another good idea is to have multiple first aid kits. And when you have them all set up the same. So I need to put one together for my wife's vehicle, so it is set up the same. So when we're in her vehicle, I can grab it and use what I need, and I know what's in there. When we're in my vehicle, we have this one. If I had a camper, then I'd have another version just like this in the camper, but everything needs to be set up the same and in the same place. And then you go through, make sure it doesn't expire, make sure you know where everything's at. Look at what you have, train with what you have. And that's all I got for this. Have a blessed day.